Recording in progress. Oh, are we doing all from the beginning?
In the Pop Culture Cupid podcast, we talk about how pop culture influences our expectations in relationships. I'm Alison, love coach, here to help you single people find your way back to love.
Healthy communication. I'm Michelle. I help singles embrace themselves and their singleness, as well as develop a healthy self-relationship. We bring some juicy stories from our own love lives and dating, and it gets pretty interesting. Be focused, we're gonna be to the point, and no digressing.
Self-awareness. Follow, share, subscribe, enjoy.
And like and comment.
If it's shockingly bad, we just re-record another one.
Yeah. No, I think there's some good stuff that you can just nitpick. Recording in progress. It's been so long.
It's been. I think this
so
is
long. I've seen your face. Whatever it is. Sorry, I apologize.
I think this is the shortest kind of break between two recordings we've ever done.
Yeah.
Because usually we when we stop recording, we take a moment, we go to the toilet. Like this has just been like pause. No speaking whatsoever.
No.
Then record.
You stay. Yeah.
So there's no updates to our personal lives. By the time this comes out, we'll probably coming up to December. No, I'm completely wrong.
No
We're in October.
Maybe. Well, depends like when we release it, but yeah, it might.
Anyway, so it's prolonged. So anyway, Love is Blind drama. People have been waiting for our take on it because we're so popular.
Yeah. I think we have the best take.
We do have the best take.
To be honest.
It's just we need to get out there more. Like how?
Yeah.
But the short format is more palatable.
Us.
Yes,
it is more palatable. Anyway,
so we dropped off last week with like kind of the couples that have some drama but not too much to their name.
Mm-hmm.
Talks about a bit of personal stuff. Now we're getting into not my favorite couple in the sense that I think they're the best ones, but like the meatiest couple.
Like, Hannah and Nick.
Most to talk about. Hannah and Nick. Did I call it or what?
You did. You're good at it. You know
I was. Thank you. But I was like it was so satisfying to be right.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna be a bitch.
I knew that's exactly why you were gonna end it. Also, so for a bit of background, because I'm thinking about people like my friend Howie who listens and Zev who listens. Like they don't watch Love is Blind. So Hannah and Nick, couple from Love is Blind who broke up. I think Nick is the appropriate amount of matureness for his age. Like he's just discovering life. And she thinks she's 26. She thinks she's mature. She's not.
No, I just, it's mind-boggling to me. Like I even wrote down, Hannah thinks she's more mature and better than he is. And she's like so condescending. The way she speaks is as if I think I'm the best person in the world. But she isn't. She literally isn't. She's like being so immature. Just in the fact that she like thinks that she's more mature is so immature.
And that whole thing about my best friend in the world, about that girl she spent 2 weeks with in the pods, like
I don't know. It just no, she's just being so dramatic. You know what she's giving me? She's giving me Zenob, that the cutie skill.
Yes. Yes.
Just giving me Zenob. That's exactly it. It's the same vibe, the same, condescending. What's the larger than thou, or whatever it is?
Mightier than thou.
Huh?
Mightier than thou.
Yeah. She's like, no. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
deep breaths.
I I really want to like her because she she's not that stereotypical, skinny, petite, short. Like she's a bit, larger is a harsh word. She's more, I don't know how to put it.
Voluptuous.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of her now, but like she's taller, she's curvier, she's,
Yeah.
because
She has more presence.
she has more presence and she's not the average girl. Like, there are other girls on the show who are the average girl, who are just
Yeah.
not as tall, but kind of curvier and things. But she's taller, like she is really outside of the stereotypical reality TV girl. And I was like, okay.
Hmm.
And I think she knows that. Hopefully she knows that. And she probably put a lot of pressure on herself to kind of just be the best possible example of not
Hmm.
taking any shit, of not. And I was just like, that enough. Her mum kept it was like, this is a bit much. And she said that her friends didn't like Nick. Like, that's not the vibe that I got from them at all.
I feel
I
like
think,
she's just making shit up all the time and
yeah,
like pretending it's true.
I feel her friends probably said, listen, you don't really look happy with him. We don't think he's the one for you. But I
Yeah.
don't think the friends said, we don't like him.
Yeah. They
But
don't know
she,
him. They don't really know him.
I mean,
They don't know the
imagine.
whole story.
So, you and I are very invested in Love is Blind, but imagine having a
Yeah.
friend come along and say, okay, I'm going to marry this dude in 2 weeks. Here's an hour, a recorded hour of you meeting him, and then tell me what you think about him. Like, it's just so, everything is just so
Yeah.
awkward.
Yeah. And we know that Hannah likes to make things up and then pretend
Yeah.
as if it's so you don't know what she told her friends. It could be she was like talking about him and saying, yeah, he's such a slob. I always have to ask him to take out the trash, even though like I didn't even give him a chance to do it himself. And I pretend as if I gave him a chance, but I really didn't. And it's like, I don't know. She's just like she's constantly just not listening to anyone but
Yeah.
herself. And I don't know if she actually believes it or if she's aware that she's misrepresenting reality, but I don't know. She's just deciding for him what he said and did and what he's like gonna do. And I'm like, oh, God, seriously? I don't know. So I'm assuming that that's what she represents also to the other people in her life. So of course
Mm.
they're not gonna like him.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, absolutely. And also it's, perception is reality
Yeah.
and what other people perceive ends up being reality, even though that's not what you're feeling. Um, but yeah, I mean, I have a good at like parallel kind of to do to this. So JT and his mother have a colorful relationship, let's say, and he often kind of portrays her a certain way, which is we're not going to go into how mother son relationships, but what last time we were there, like a couple of weekends ago, she was nothing but nice to me,
Hmm.
and I told him this. I said, listen, she's making an effort. I understand what you're saying. I understand, like, tough. It was tough, growing up with a mother who was a judge. No, what was she? She wasn't a judge. She was public defender. Did she end up being a judge at some point? I don't know. I understand it was tough growing up, but you need to recognize that she was making an effort, and but he is so holed up on the negative, which is completely understandable. I'm not saying that, I'm not comparing him to Hannah, but I'm saying that
Yeah.
once you've picked up on the negative, it's hard to see the positive. And Hannah is just a perfect example of this. Like she is only seeing the negative and glorifying the negative and refuses to see the positive. And Nick is not at all JT's mother. I think he's a great guy. I think he's just a 20-year-old kid, 28-year-old kid who's kind of just, understanding what it's like to be an adult and doing
Yeah.
things for himself. And it just takes time. Like, people, our generation was so coddled of just, staying with our parents and being treated a certain way. It's just kind of good for her if she's out there working and being independent. I mean, good for her, but it doesn't give you the right to be condescending. Like, give people time, and men usually like take a bit more time to grow their wings.
Um, yeah, especially I don't when I don't know, especially when Hannah's being so dominant. I think he's struggling to find his, I don't know, I just think it's really hard to be able to express yourself properly when someone's constantly making you feel like, you're doing everything wrong and you're being
Mhm.
immature. And she's constant, like, there's constant conversation around how he can do better and how he's so immature and how he's not doing anything right. And it's like, how could you ever, I don't know. So I feel like he's like, I don't know. It's just frustrating to watch from the side. I would just want to give that guy a hug and tell him, don't let her bring you down. Like, don't let her make you feel like you're the problem when
I think
she
he
in
did.
fact is.
I think he did really well by saying like you're coming down on me too harsh. And
Yeah, finally.
yeah, I think he was good. And I think, and she can, I think she's got such a dominant personality that she's probably not used to people telling her she's wrong.
Yeah,
And so it's really catching her off guard. And so she's not open to hearing it. But it's
yeah.
like, the more I have this, I often talk about this couple where she's all often criticizing him, you know, whether it's justly or not, she's, really unhappy with him. But
Yeah.
I keep telling her, like, you need to lay off him because
Mm-hmm.
either he is just like not worth it and then you can leave, or the fact that you're kind of like pressing down on him and being so demanding and so kind of overbearing, it's probably freezing him.
Yeah.
Um, and you just take a step back, and it's so harsh because it means not telling him to do certain things and things like that. But a lot of guys will kind of just it gives them space to grow, and that's definitely what Nick was missing. Because I agree with what on the face of it, I agree with what Hannah is saying. Like, I don't need to, I can't tell you, um, I expect you to do things without me telling you. God damn it, I'm often telling JT like, can you empty the trash? And it's not that deep. Like, he'll do other things that are amazing and just
Yeah.
but buying me flowers, cooking dinner, things like that. Like, there are things that, yeah, I'd like to not say it, but if I do, it's not doesn't matter.
Yeah, but that's exactly the thing is I don't believe that he's not doing it in a way. I feel like she's just, a lot of times when you're about to do something or when, you haven't had a chance, like the bin has just got full in the past few minutes. You barely had a chance to get through the house and notice that it's
Yeah.
full, and she's already asking you to take it out. Or where you're on the way to take it out, and then she has to ask you, and then she's like
Yeah.
complaining, why do I have to ask you about taking out the rubbish? And I feel like that's the feeling that I'm getting from the situation.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah.
could be we're not there, we don't know what happened, we don't know, we can't really see what's going on completely. But that's the vibe that I'm getting. Is like she's constantly asking him to do things before he gets a chance to do it for himself, like without her telling him. So like, so of
I mean,
course it's
I'm curious to hear about I'm curious. I can't wait to have the reunion episode where they
yeah,
get all of the backlash and see how she grows from it, and hopefully she does. She'll
yeah.
definitely have supporters. She definitely will.
No, for
But
sure. Yeah.
hopefully she'll hear some. And Nick as well. I mean, Nick, there's room for growth, but I agree. Like, you need to, even if,
But he's aware. He's aware that he needs to grow. She's not.
yeah,
She's constantly being, I'm like perfect and I'm good and I'm like this and that. And even her parents and her brother saying the same thing about her. So,
yeah.
it's not as if like it's out of nowhere and everyone around her is saying that she's perfect as well. Her own parents are saying that she's
Mm,
problematic in that way.
yeah.
But anyway,
Growth, self-awareness. Oh,
Self-awareness.
next time we record, we need to do a new jingle.
Yeah, it's true.
Ramses and Marissa.
Oh, I can't even. I just like I wait. I like part of me tunes out when they get on screen. I just can't. I just can't with the wokeness. I'm like, leave me alone. It's just like yeah, you're not better than everyone in the world because you're woke. Sorry.
I know. Notice everybody how Michelle has gone from being very kind of tame with the way she speaks. She spoke up until recent events where she's just not taking shit anymore. She'll just let
No.
go. But I I think that so it's interesting because in our two yours and my kind of personalities, I think that I kind of would lean slightly towards more of the wokeness and you
Hmm.
slightly more to the conservative if we had to kind of
Yeah.
choose a side only because of the way we were brought up and like our belief system and everything around that. But we're not too so much to the extremes that kind of it makes it impossible for us to be friends
Yeah.
and speak like and I mean I don't think we've
But
ever spoken about go for it.
no, I was just gonna say, but my problem isn't with like the beliefs of the I think a lot of what they're saying within that woke
Sphere.
progressive things. Yeah, I think they have a lot of good pointers over there. I think it's the fact that they're progressive until it comes to accepting someone else's beliefs and like accepting that you know what, I believe in live and let live. I'm like, do your thing. I don't care what you do in your own life or what pronouns you want to use, but don't shove your beliefs into
Yeah.
my throat and don't tell me that I'm a worse person than you because I believe this, that, and the other. That's my issue with it, is that they believe they are better than everyone else. They think they're so progressive, but they're not really progressive because they only believe they're right and everyone else is
Mm.
wrong. And usually they're wrong. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing with it with any extreme, like when they are like take Jordan Peterson as an example, where he's very much on the conservative side, and there are a lot of
mhm.
things that I completely agree with him, and there are some things he's so dead set on them, and I'm like, no, but
Yeah.
you're wrong. You are just wrong. Like, you know, it is just wrong, and other people say, and it's interesting. We should have a conversation. We should try and think about like really conservative views that are a bit touchy and really woke views that are a bit touchy, and then see how we both kind of really feel about it. Um,
Yeah.
anyway, later, before like after the Love Is Blind seasons and before my maternity leave. But Ramses and Marissa. So I think they are also kind of like she's probably slightly more on the conservative side, and he's because of the military and things like that, he's so completely woke. And that whole thing around physical intimacy and and sexual presence and it just struck a nerve.
Yeah.
It was so because so I don't think we've ever actually we keep saying we're going to make an episode about tantra and like these practice like sexual beliefs and things like that.
Yeah.
The whole thing around and that's really on the woke side. Well, woke side. Um the fact that he was like, but I need physical intimacy and like if you're not feeling well, it's making me not feel well and putting his sexual needs ahead of her basic like physical needs,
Yeah.
it really drove me insane. And her like worries about but what if like when I'm pregnant and this and that and like he was not reassuring at all. He was just like but I have needs and things and she was saying things like I could be unhappy for 5 to 7 years if it means working through it and making work and you could tell that he was like that's too long and I'm not gonna
Yeah. I'm not
he
gonna put any, it is a long time, but like looked like he was unwilling to put any effort in.
yeah and I was like it's good that you people express their needs. I mean, I think it's healthy, but I think people forget that when you express your needs, it doesn't mean that they're going to be heard. It means that, you know,
Hmm.
and it goes to a conversation, because the fact that you need sex is not as important as the fact that she's in pain right now and feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, open relationships kind of, you know, I don't, you know, I even think that I have a friend, a guy who's married and they're in an open relationship. And
Yeah.
actually, the times where she's not feeling well physically is not the time where he goes to see other women. It's the time when he's present for her and makes sure that she's okay.
Oh, sweet.
You know, they consider sex and open relationship and the fact that it's something to be enjoyed when you're in like your best mindset. And if both of them are not in the best mindset, then it's just not going to happen. And I think that's the risk with these open relationships. And like Ramses has been like, you could tell that it's a part of him of saying, if my physical needs are not being met, I'm not gonna bother. Like,
Yeah.
it really was irksome to me. So last episode we talked about the edit and things like that, and it probably not being fair. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, even though I don't want to, only because we gave the benefit of the doubt to another couple for the edit. But
Yeah.
I just,
I'm having a very hard time giving him the benefit of the doubt, like with the words that are coming out of his mouth. No one's forcing him to say these words and to react this way to her,
yeah,
So yes, we don't know the bigger picture, but still. And you know what, part of the problem that I have with all this wokeism and progressiveness is that what's important to them is me. Only I'm important, and
mm,
it's very self-centered, and it's very that my feelings become more important than anything else. And my truth is more important than the truth. And it's how I feel towards a situation that makes it right or wrong.
yeah,
And and yes, your feelings are important, but you're not the center of the world. And there's a lot of things that it's a bit hard for me to react because growing up in growing up where I grew up, I've seen some real shit, and and I look at these people and I say, my goodness, this is and this is why wokeism hasn't made its way to Israel, because we've seen too much real fucking shit, and pardon my
mm,
French, that it's hard for us to just take any of that seriously, because these people have no idea what it's like to have real problems. And it's sorry, I'm digressing. I'm getting into this real because it's like it irks me, and it's like and yeah, sorry.
no, no. I mean, don't apologize. I think, you know, I think speaking to that is so back to Jordan Peterson. No, not Jordan Peterson. Some other guy who is way more extreme and a bit of a dick, to be honest. Um, from The Wire, not Ben Shapiro. I think Ben Shapiro isn't. I think he's a bit iffy, but the other guy, he did this whole documentary about what it is to be a woman.
I don't
Have
know.
you seen it? You know, okay, well, well, I won't, you know, think about it too much.
Yeah.
Um, and he kept comparing like our way of living, like the Western way of living, to like these tribes in Africa, where they were
Yeah.
like, can a man become a woman and things like that, and it made them laugh and things like that. And he was to the point of transgenderism doesn't exist, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's not the point. Like we have evolved to a point where things can change, because otherwise nobody would, none of us would be using a toilet, and none of us would be, you know, on the phone and things
Yeah.
like that and traveling, and you know. So I think it's fair that in Israel wokeism hasn't come, because like the situation hasn't, you know, you've got other shit to deal with.
Yeah.
And then but then, you know, in other countries where we haven't got that shit to deal with, like let's cook up drama for
Yeah.
something
No, but
else.
when I say wokeism, I'm not talking about being like
No, no, I
open-minded,
know, I
because
know. I'm you're talking about this kind of like really
Yeah,
dramatic, toxic, self-centered.
because Israel's the only open-minded Western country in the Middle East. But I'm saying in the fact of like of just being so self-centered and being so
Mm.
progressive to the point where you can't see anyone else's opinions or values or beliefs as valid. And when I see Ramses, he's like very much in that mindset of like it's not okay that you were in the army, and if you don't regret it, and
Yeah.
if it's not in your past, then you're not okay. And if my physical needs aren't being met, no matter what the issue is, then I'm out of there. And that's the part that really irks me the most. And especially when you think that you're so morally superior. That's what irks me in all of this thing is like you're behaving like a self-centered brat and then feeling so pretentious like you're better than everyone else.
Mm.
That's not okay in my book.
No, I agree, and it's kind of it's funny to me because these like really woke communities, like the healthy woke communities, like they want the word is community, like they want to
Yeah.
build groups and build everything, and like and to the people who are very self-centered, you want to think about it. It's just how can you live in a community and benefit from the community if you're only gonna think about yourself?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, and I was in one of my um like speaking circles, tantric speaking circles. I kind of brought it up. I was saying, we are learning it because, some of us grew up only thinking about others. It's teaching us to like rethink about ourselves, which is healthy. But when is it too much? Like, when is it? And I was saying, like, fine, everything is about me, but then at some point, like, if I'm moving, if I'm pregnant and need support, if I'm things like that, I kind of do want support of others. And then why am I expecting
Hmm.
other people's support if I'm not supporting them? And it triggered this big conversation, and a lot of people are saying, saying you want to choose your people, and and things like that, and that's fair. You want to choose the people who surround you, and I think Marissa wants
Yeah.
to choose the right man to marry, of having not having the shadow of a doubt that when she's going to be unwell, he's going to support her.
Yeah. Yeah, and you want that. You want to feel like you can be supported no matter what. And you know, you don't have to agree on everything. I think it's okay for every person to have their own
Yeah.
opinions and their own wants and needs and to think about themselves sometimes. But you also have to be able to do that for the other person and to be able to support them and not make them feel like if their issue is related to XYZ, then you're not going to be there for them because you don't believe in that. And I think if you can't do that for the other person, then that's not the right relationship for you. Or maybe you need to change your perspective towards a relationship.
What do you bring to the
And
table?
yeah, exactly. And you know, relationships are gonna have difficult times. It's not always going to be pink and rosy, and it's not gonna always, you know, be up to par, and you have to work on it, you know? It's not like in the movies where everything's solved within one scene.
Minutes.
Yeah.
I think that's a good ending note.
Ooh, yeah.
So next week, um, Tyler and Ashley and Garrett and Taylor.
Yeah. Should be
So
a soft ending.
could be well, not uninteresting, but soft ending.
Not uninteresting, but much, you know, calmer, I
Yeah,
hope.
tamer. So
Yeah.
tell us what you
Let us
guys think.
know. Yeah.
Let us know, and maybe kind of try and predict what we say, because we're not going to be reading your predictions before we record, because we were literally going to
That's
record in
true.
like a minute. So
Yeah.
yeah, don't forget to like and everything and follow and subscribe, and see you next week.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.